Hey, how's everyone doing today? Back with another video. For today's video, we're going to be doing another talking video. And the gameplay we'll be doing today is just a little bit more of my Minecraft beta 1.7.3 world. Um, I'm playing the game as I'm talking, so there's no, I didn't record it on Audacity or anything and record this beforehand. It's kind of just me playing right now and just talking. So the topic for today's video, I actually got inspired to make this, was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Elijah Long. Um, he's, honest to God, he's probably the best. If you want to do self-improvement or just want to better your life, I don't even want to call it self-improvement. I would just want to call it just reality and, you know, doing what you have to do as a man, and but not taking it yourself too seriously at the same time. Watch his channel because it's just crazy how he speaks and how he articulates his words and sentences. Yeah, so if he ever ends up seeing this video, which I doubt he will, yeah, that's where I got this idea from. I think today this video is more geared towards men. I don't know if any girls watched these videos, but yeah, I mean it could apply to you too, I guess. But I'm gonna use the word men just to make the points. But I think a lot, and I'm gonna take my time with this video. I'm not trying to speed rush it and get through any points. If I ramble, I ramble. I don't really care, honestly. So yeah. So without further ado, let's get started with it. Let me grab some food here. I'm gonna die if I go out here. I'm about to run out this door quick. I think there might be a creeper out there. Nope. The point of this video is I just want to talk about the delusion and the cope that modern men have today. Young men, any man. I think that we all want to be rich and have a lot of money, which is fair. I want that too. I don't think there's one person that wouldn't want that. But I think we have all been sold, and I fell into this trap too. But I'm lucky that I got out of it very quickly and realized what the reality of the world was. And it's not a bad reality. I think that's where the delusion comes into it. I think that we get fear put into us. I'll get back to that. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I think we're told that the only way you can be successful and have a fun life, meaningful life, is by having your own source of passive income. I think we're told to not. I feel like most channels are, and I get the point. I think it started from a humble beginning. I really do. I think the intent was pure and honest, but I think it just got to a point where they're just trying to sell you lies, because no one's going to be a multimillionaire in a month from doing an online business or starting their own business from the ground up. It's just not real. And I think we're sold the lie that we can't have nice things or have a good life if we're working for someone else, or, you know, if you're grinding at a job that, doesn't pay you well. And I think this just creates so much turmoil in young people. And I don't want to sound like I'm older by saying young people. Like I'm young as well. So I'm putting myself in, this is aimed at myself too. So I think that, I don't know how to, I'm trying to think of a way to like put this together chronologically so it makes sense. I think that we all have this idea of what we want our lives to be and what it's going to, I don't think we know what it's going to take, but I think we know what would be needed. I don't know. I'm trying to make it sound like, 'cause it is two different things. What the end goal would be to make that make our lives what they want it to be. Let's do an easy example. Let's say, I'm not even going to say a specific job. I'm just going to say a job that makes a lot of money. Let's say you have a job that pays you $250,000 a year. Job, business, but you say you get $250,000 a year. That's a pretty damn good life. You're gonna have you never have to worry about money problems if you don't buy stupid things. And making that much amount of money, you can buy stupid things. Just not really stupid things. You're not gonna be buying a Lamborghini or anything like that. I guess if you saved for many, many years, I guess you could, but you get the point I'm trying to make. I think we all see that that's what would be required to live a fun, fulfilling life, Provide for yourself, provide for others, give back. Why not? But I think we're all sold the idea that if you're not working for yourself or having a business or breaking out of the matrix, quote unquote, I think that we're sold that, you're an idiot, you're stupid. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, oh, I'm never going to sell my soul to a corporation and work for them, even if I'm getting paid $500,000 a year. It's like, yeah. And I think some young guys believe that's like wrong. That is just not. I promise you, if someone came up to you, if you were one of these people that think that way right now, that you wouldn't do that, I guarantee you would. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like, that would be a good freaking life. And you would be an idiot not to do that. I think that, and the point I'm trying to get with this little segment is, I think that people get in this mindset to where they just don't want to work. I think that's what it comes down to. I think it's just people don't want to work, and they think that it's going to be easy. They're going to make this business, and it's going to have passive income. And I think we're just tricked into thinking that we don't have to work. And I don't know what's going on with this. Yeah, I think a lot of young men are deceived and of this life where it's just going to be, you're going to do one thing and it's just going to provide for you the rest of your life, and you're not going to have to work. The business is going to run itself, and that can happen, but that's a long ways away. If that's the route you go down, but to get there, it's doable. I don't want to say nothing's you can do anything you want. I just think that you got to start. And I think that working a job and being humble and doing that is better than doing nothing. Because I think a lot of these guys think, oh, well, my ego's too big to work a normal 9 to 5 job, or my ego's too big to work at wherever. I'm nothing if I don't have can't provide for myself, and someone else is telling me what to do, so I'm just not going to work at all. I think a lot of guys get into that. I think a lot of us are in that mindset. I think it's got to change. I really do. I think that we're so delusional. That's where the delusion part. Why is it getting bright? Okay. I think that's where the delusion part comes into play. And I'm going to get these pumpkins. I do need more pumpkins. I think that's where the delusion part comes into play. And I think we're so sold. I think there's, we're just so addicted to having these guys online yell at us and tell us that, you're nothing if you're not grinding and, trying to get to this point where you can't do any, that's the point. That's where I'm trying to segment into this. You can't do anything with your life until you get to the point where you're making X amount of money and have X things. I think that's where a lot of people are getting tripped up now. I think it causes people just to do nothing. And I know this is true because I watched a podcast the other day where a guy got on and this channel, um, it's just about it's honestly a humble channel. It's just a guy making videos where he just talks just about like life betterment and just stuff that can help you out. But he had this one guy come on and he was talking about how he didn't want to work. He didn't want to do anything because, his goal was to work for himself, and he's not a social person, so he's not going to work at all. He's afraid to be around people, but he wants to have a business. And when asked the question, what's your idea to even start this? You're saying all this stuff, but what's the blue work or the blueprint to achieve this goal? And he's like, oh, I have no clue. And then he was also posed with the question, why don't you do something in between, so you're at least making some income to support yourself. And he's like, oh, I that's why I want to have the business, because I don't like to be around people. And I made a video. The last video I made was about relationships are just part of life. And I think that these new aged videos geared towards young men are just so just really cloud the reality of what it is. I think that, like I said, I think we're just all sold the idea that you can't do anything until you get to this point in your life. And I just think that's wrong. I really do. And I'm not using it as an excuse for me to not do anything, because I do. I bust my tail, and I'm happy with what I have achieved and achieving. Um, but I just wanted to share my perspective on this whole culture. Um, yeah, I think that you do. I think you really do have to work. I really, honest to God, do. I think that even if it's towards a business of your own or towards a career where, you're not the direct one in charge, but man, it's going to be a good career and you're going to be making a lot of money. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think not everyone's going to have a business, but that doesn't mean you can't be rich and have a lot of money. That's just not reality. And every position, yeah, there's luck. We can't throw luck out, but luck is luck, and people get lucky. But that's probably one out of every 100,000 people get it handed to them and just fall into the money. The rest of the people, the other 99,000, they're going to be working. They're going to work up to that, and you can't use that as a cope to say you're just not. Well, I just didn't get lucky. It's luck's a factor, but I think it's. I think you can put yourself in positions to get more lucky, and I think that's part of working. Um, but some guys just refuse to work, and that's what separates the winners from the losers. Honestly, I'm not going to be trying to sugarcoat it. You're either gonna suffer. This is what Elijah Long said in one of his other videos. You're either going to do the work and have a good life, or you're going to suffer and die. I mean, honestly, as bad as that sounds, it's the truth. You can complain and moan and complain all the time, but I mean, if you're not doing anything, you're not doing anything. It's just that. It's just that simple. Um, yeah, that's a lot of information in the short amount of time I just talked. Um, yeah, I know it was not very organized, but I'm just gonna pause for a second, just kind of recap what I just said. All of it. I think that most people are sold this idea of success, and they know what they need to do. And I think a lot of these channels had the intentions are good, but I think some of them have gotten out of hand to the point where they're just making stuff up to sell you some sort of coaching or some sort of, um, uh, yeah, just sell you something, reality that's not true. Um, but Not being rich in your 20s is not something to be upset about. I really don't. I think that you need to, if you get to that point, like, that's awesome. Like, you're ahead of the curve, but I think that trying to hit a home run right off the bat that's delusion. Like, it's just, I mean, it's going to happen for some, but majority it's not, and that's okay. You can work up to it. But I think we just get I think we all have this all or nothing mindset, and I think I think for some people it leads them to do absolutely nothing. And um, I think you got to find a balance in your life, or else you're just going to be miserable. You have these guys that, you know, are doing what they need to do, but you can just see it in their face that they're miserable because they just take it too seriously. And I know you got to take it seriously to get the results, but I think that it can lead you into a bad mental space where, let's say you do get the results and you were mean to people on the way and you were just not nice. I think it can lead you to um, just being miserable, just as simple as that. I don't want to overcomplicate that, but you got to do the damn work. It's just that simple. You have to do the damn work with anything that you want to do. Um, don't be delusional enough to where you don't work a regular job, or if you want to have a career that is not a business, but it's not, um, but it's a good career and you're going to make a lot of money, like, that's perfectly fine too. You don't have to have your own thing. The whole online making your business and that, I I don't want to come sound like I'm on one side or the other. Like, I'm on both sides. Like, I think both ways are good. I think we're just sold the idea that it's the one way or nothing. I just, I don't get it. I really don't. I think both ways are good. And I think some people just don't have that. Um, I need to fix that. I think some people just have the mindset where we watch all these videos and it's like, man, I had this idea for my life, but it's not a business, and I am not like a business person. But I'm good at this other thing that can make a lot of money. Um, I'm smart. I'm intelligent. And then you just hear these guys telling you, "Oh, well, you're a loser if you don't have your own business or have this." It's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm not going to do anything. Because if I put my God given ability of, let's just say you're like intelligent, book smart, but you're not creative, but why you could use that and become a lawyer, a doctor, work with finance, do stuff like that, and like, yeah, you'd be working for someone else and getting a paycheck for someone else, but guess what? That paycheck's going to be massive, and you're going to have money. Like, I think that's a very good, reasonable thing to do. Um, Not everyone's meant to have a business, and guess what? The people that aren't meant to have the business probably have something else they're good at, and vice versa. The people that have the businesses probably weren't, book smart and didn't like to sit there and study or apply other skills, but guess what? They had really good creative ideas and had um, things where they could, they were good leaders and could get people to come together to create something, and that's why they have a business. I think that everyone has a skill, and I think using that skill is what we can do to have a better life and make the money that we need to do. Um, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for that part of the video. Um, I don't really know how long I've been going on for. I don't have like a timer set up, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up with um, whatever you do, the way up is not supposed to be enjoyable. I don't want to say enjoyable. I don't think it's supposed to be like fun. I don't like. There's going to be parts where it's going to be miserable, and you're gonna, even if it's something you'd love to do, there's going to be parts where it's like, man, like I'm just grinding this out, which is fine. Like that's what you got to do. Um, but I think some people get so caught up in the grind that they just become so like jaded towards reality, and they don't enjoy the little things anymore. They just are so focused. Then they just take it out on other people and are just mean. And I think that's just not a good way to live. If you're fine with that and don't have an issue with that, then by all means do it that way. But I know for me personally, like sometimes you guys have to step back and be like, I'm a freaking human being, man. Like it's nice, it's fun to take a break sometimes, or it's nice to be nice to people and help out, even if I'm not getting anything out of it. I think that's also a part you have to take into consideration, because I mean, if you're not getting anything out of it, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you kind of are. I mean, it's good for your mental health, good for that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, that's that part. I think if you're, I'm gonna end it with this. I think if you're struggling to not define something you want to do, I think the best thing you can do is think about what you're good at. I need some gravel. That's why I'm doing this. I think the best thing to do is to think about what you're good at and use that skill to make your career and make what you're going to do with your life. I think that's a good start. And if you don't know what you're going to do, don't use that as an excuse not to work or apply yourself to something else. You know, don't be too egotistical to go get a job somewhere where, you know, it's just a job, nothing else, nothing more. Because I think if you get to the point where you're sitting at your house all day and not just thinking about, oh, well, I just want to do this thing and it's going to be perfect, I think you're just going to get caught up in your own, live in your mind, and it's just going to create other issues that you're not going to enjoy, just mental health issues. So yeah, I know this was kind of a long video, kind of went all over the place, but I think that a lot of guys just get caught up in the delusion of it, and I just kind of want to get my perspective on it. I'll probably make another video on this topic, more concise and to the point, but I just wanted to get my initial thoughts out there on just today's world. So yeah, if you like this or have any comments, obviously leave a comment and like the video, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day.